everything. And that's kind of where it ended up, was like I had to go revisit everything I ever thought about the world, because I started realizing our entire paradigm is wrong. I mean, or a lot of it is. That was my experience.
So let's talk about what you saw first. Like, what was the first example where it was like an aha moment for you?
My electricity bill dropped from $150 to...
Yeah, so after I heard the interview with Dr. Diane,
I don't think I could ever be scared again, not really. I find out what I can do, my abilities, telepathy, psychic powers, the awareness, the super awareness all the time that the entities can't do. How can I be afraid? I don't think I can truly be afraid. Not long term anyway, but you just still have to be aware of everything, so. But I think I'm becoming a little bit more confident. Alright. It's all the glutamate in my brain. I mean, all this research and realizations on my brain. Oh, you know what else could be? The Wi-Fi from this phone. Jesus Christ, is a Wi-Fi from the phone. That's an. Yeah, it's uploading. Let me keep that a little bit down there. All right. That is a big part. All right.
I Zoomed with her and then asked if I could go see her and meet her and talk about this a bit, because I thought this could be the next project, and I just knew it was going to be the next project, right? So one of the first things I had to do was I was like, can you just tell me about some of the emails that come in from parents? I had to just kind of go through reading some emails from parents, and it was one after the other. Like, I didn't believe this, and I didn't believe my wife, I didn't believe my husband that this would be possible. We tested it. People were sending tests, and I thought, okay, whatever is going on here, these parents don't know that any other parents are going through this. They think a singular miracle is happening in their home, that this child can meet their thoughts, and that this is what the story is. That there's so many parents who haven't been listened to. And so I really thought this was about parents at first, and then discovered, no, there's been teachers writing about this for 30 years, capturing it, videotaping this phenomenon going on, and scared to come out about it. And I think same with the families, right? I mean, what a weird thing to say, this child can read my mind, or this child seems to be able to do X, Y, Z, things that seem impossible. And so, my first thought was, okay, I need to see this with my own eyes. And so Dr. Powell had just been reached out to by a family in Mexico who discovered that their 13-year-old daughter was inside. They didn't think she was, and she was able to communicate. And the reason they discovered that was after COVID, that they were in charge of homeschooling, and started being like, okay, let's see what you know.
That would explain a lot. Because if it actually is telepathic powers, that's where I have to be so careful with my thoughts, because it seems that I'm actually telling people things and they respond even from literally miles away, almost like the plane. Even the plane thing, but my plane is more like hearing the plane. So I actually have telepathic powers. My gosh. I mean, to me, it's more like body language. Body is very invasive, but okay, I haven't heard all of this video, so let's see if she's actually telepathically, like, stereotype.
No, and she started spelling, she went off a lot, and I think they were shocked, and pretty soon after she said, I can read your mind, and they thought, what? And they would do.
But that would actually make sense of all the other things that I cannot understand. I don't understand.
And started being like, okay, let's see what you know, and she started spelling, she went off a lot, and I think they were shocked, and pretty soon after she said, I can read your mind, and they thought, what? And they would do tests, what did I just draw? And she'd say what they just drew, what are we thinking? And she would write it, and so.
Do they say what they see? Or how they see it? Like, if someone writes something down, do they see the word or do they know it?
Well, I think it's a really good question.
See, that's the thing with the test. It's only a test. I open the book and it's only a test. Yeah.
And
the words. It's only 6 degrees or something, and the magazine. I meet the guy sitting like the way I was sitting, reading the magazine.
We've done a few experiments that, again, not scientific experiments I was doing for the film. I mean, which is going to be, a film, but the podcast was kind of me just trying to understand proof of concept, what is going on here, right? And I can only say what scholars have told me, and there's been quite a few scholars who say I can see through someone's eyes, or I can hear through their ears, and others who seem to.
It's like Ghostbusters. Spoilers, like Ghostbusters. In that scene.
You're right, and I can only say what scholars have told me, and there's been quite a few scholars who say I can see through someone's eyes, or I can hear through their ears, and others who seem to have a merged consciousness with someone that they're very close to, like a father or a teacher or a communication partner for a lot of years, and others who seem to have a merged consciousness. I can only say what scholars have told me, and there's been quite a few scholars who say I can see through someone's eyes, or I can hear through their ears, and others who seem to have a merged consciousness with someone that they're very close to, like a father or a teacher or a communication partner, father or whatever. Where we did some experiments with one mom where we showed that they're very close to, like a father or a teacher or a communication partner, father or whatever. We did some experiments with one mom where we show an image to her. Her son who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating is sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint. No, she thought there was a food fight. It was ketchup and mustard, and he wrote paint. So at that point it's like she's not obviously sending a thought, right? He seems to be tapping in the second that image is in her own mind. With mustard, and he wrote paint. So at that point it's like she's not obviously sending a thought, right? He seems to be tapping in the second that image is in her own mind. So for us it was a big question of, is this just sheer telepathy? Because a few parents have told me, no, this is bigger than that. He seems to be tapping in the second that image is in her own mind. So for us it was a big question of, is this just sheer telepathy? Because a few parents have told me, no, this is bigger than that. It seems like a merging of consciousness of some sort.
For me, it's simply interpretation or remembrance experience.
Yeah, but in a bizarre way. The mother doesn't know what it is, and the child does. That's strange.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And but I also, one of the stories I loved,
Gave you my trust, you turned it to dust. Now I'm in the silence.
Know what it is, and the child does.
See, because a few parents have told me, no, this is bigger than that. It seems like a merging of consciousness of some sort.
Yeah, in a bizarre way. If the mother doesn't know what it is, and the child does.
The mother doesn't know what it is, but child. Is that what happened? The child said it was a.
That's strange.
Wait a minute. Let me.
We'd show an image to her. Her son who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating is sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint. No, she thought there was a food fight. It was ketchup and mustard, and he wrote paint. So that point is like she's not sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint. No, she thought there was a food fight. It was ketchup and mustard, and he wrote paint. So that was so fascinating. To have a merged consciousness with someone that they're very close to, like a father or a teacher or a communication partner, father or whatever. Where this like we did some experiments with one mom where we'd show an image to her. Her son who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was
Okay, let's see what's saying.
this like we did some experiments with one mom where we'd show an image to her. Her son who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating is sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was.
Okay.
So at one point she thought it was paint. No, she thought there was a food fight. It was ketchup and mustard.
There's a picture of ketchup and mustard, okay? So that was a food fight. It was.
And he wrote paint.
He wrote paint. It was a picture of. It was food fight. Alright, let me.
Writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating is sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint. No, she thought there was a food fight.
Food fight.
Ketchup and mustard.
So she thought it was food fight. The image was actually that she didn't know about, was hidden, was of ketchup and mustard, and he wrote paint. Food fight, mustard and ketchup. That's pretty accurate. The mother, and he wrote paint. It seems that both the mother and the child got it pretty much. So she thought food fight. He said paint. They both got it. I mean, yeah, food, ketchup and mustard don't necessarily have to be used in a food fight, and you don't necessarily paint with, but it's like when you're food fighting, it's kind of like painting, yeah. So it's like, so what is Rogan saying about how the mother? Let me see what is.
And he wrote paint. So that point is like she's not obviously sending a thought, right?
So she's not right.
He seems to be tapping in the second the images in her own mind. So
What do you mean he's tapping? Maybe he's tapping into whoever is doing. It's not that he's tapping into the images. He's tapping into whomever, I guess. Unless he can't see. This the whole thing is, does the son see who's doing it? Isn't it possible the son is perceiving not the mother? Why does it say food fight paint? Alright.
for us it was a big question of, is this just sheer telepathy? Because a few parents have told me, no, this is bigger than that. It seems like a merging of consciousness of some sort.
Yeah, in a bizarre way.
So it was a big question of, is this just sheer telepathy? Because a few parents have told me, no, this is bigger than that. It seems like a merging of consciousness of some sort.
Yeah, in a bizarre way. If the mother doesn't know what it is, and the child
The mother doesn't know what it is.
does, that's strange.
What does he mean that the mother doesn't? Didn't the mother say food fight? The child said, who said food fight? The mother doesn't know. Wait a minute. Who said food fight? That's what I'm trying to get. Do you understand? Okay, no, I'm trying to say. The mother said food fight. If it was Petra packet, it seemed like the mother got it more. And that's just saying that it was food fight and the mother knows. So I'm trying to think. Okay, so I get it. What he's saying now. I guess it was maybe no. She didn't know. She didn't say food fight. The whole thing was a food fight with Petra. Is that what it's saying? Let's see.
So Dr. Powell had just been reached out to.
Let me. I had forgotten that I had left this on. That's why if I seem kind of tired, well, I'm more relaxed now because I got the food and I'm eating the food more readily here. But I'm supposed to be watching. My intent was to watch non-telepathic stuff here, so I'm kind of doing this recording out of like not planned in a way. Okay, because I've done a whole bunch of documentation.
By a family in Mexico who
Documentation recordings and
discovered that their 13-year-old daughter was inside. They didn't think she was, and she was able to communicate. And the reason they discovered that was after COVID. You know, that they were in charge of homeschooling and started being like, okay, let's see what you know. And she started spelling, she went off a lot, and I think they were shocked. And pretty soon after, she said, I can read your mind. And they thought, what? And they would be tests. What did I just draw? And she'd say what they just drew.
They see the work.
Thinking a lot, and I think they were shocked. And they discovered that was out to by a family in Mexico who discovered that their 13-year-old daughter was inside. They didn't think she was, and she was able to communicate. And the reason they discovered that was after by a family in Mexico who discovered that their 13-year-old daughter was inside. They didn't think she was, and she was able to communicate. And the reason they discovered that was after
she was inside.
You know, they were in charge of what, and they would
Or how they see it, like if someone writes something down, do they see the word or do they know it?
Well, I think that's a really good question. And, you know, we've done a few experiments that, you know, again, I'm not a scientist.
Something down. Do they see the word or do they know it?
Well, I think that's a really good question. And, you know, we've done a few experiments that, you know, again, I'm not a scientific experiments I was doing for the film, I mean, which is going to be, you know, a film, but the podcast was kind of me just trying to understand, like, proof of concept, what's going on here, right? And I can only say what scholars have told me, and there's been quite a few scholars who say I can see through someone's eyes or I can hear through their ears.
I can see someone's.
Understand, like, proof of concept, what's going on here, right? And I can only say what scholars have told me, and there's been quite a few scholars who say I can see through someone's eyes or
I can see through someone's eyes.
hear through their ears.
I can hear through their ears. Yeah, for me, it's not about hearing through their ears or seeing through their eyes. I'm seeing through my eyes. So, okay.
And others who seem to have a merged consciousness with someone that they're very close to, whether it be a father or a teacher or communication.
Actually, it's more like I can. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's more like It's more like they're like close to me, even though far away. It's like I'm actually talking with them, as if they're communicating, like they're next to me, so they can see and hear everything I'm saying. Sometimes no. Sometimes it feels like I'm actually telepathically communicating with them. Yeah, but I don't think of it as telepathy. I don't. That would be, I simply think of it as me talking to them. That's the way I'm thinking. I'm talking. We're talking. I'm thinking telepathy. I'm not thinking of the word telepathy.
Father, whatever. Where we did some experiments with one mom where we show an image to her. Her son who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden
Okay, the son is sitting across the room. Okay.
start writing what the image was. Oh,
Who would? Okay, let's see who's writing.
we did some experiments with one mom where we show an image to her. Her son who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start
All of a sudden.
writing what the image was. What was so fascinating is sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was.
The mother wouldn't know what the image. Yeah, okay.
So at one point she
So at one point she
thought it was paint.
she thought it was paint. No,
No, she thought there was a food fight.
no, she thought there was a food fight. Okay,
Ketchup and mustard, and he wrote paint.
it was a picture of ketchup mustard. He wrote paint. See, what Rogan is saying doesn't make sense. Her reaction after he said it seemed to be dismissive of it. So did he get it right? Some people say that Rogan PewDiePie thinks he's stupid, but I don't think he's stupid. But that's not what he's saying. The mother did get it. She said food fight. And then the son's saying it's pain. But am I perceiving this differently? Do they not understand it? Maybe they don't get it. Do they really not get it? Food fight and ketchup and do you get it? You have food fight with ketchup and mustard. He's saying that she didn't get it.
Writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating is we did some experiments with one mom where we show an image to her. Her son who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was.
I think I get what they're saying. When they say food fight, it wasn't food fight. It was simply ketchup and mustard. But then, I get it now. For example, you say, so if you show someone the ketchup and mustard, you say it's ketchup and mustard. Right? It's not a food fight, but yes, a food fight can have, right, it can have that. So the son's saying paint. Let's think about that. Paint is like, yeah, we know what paint is. It's stuff that you can paint. Yes, you can paint with the ketchup and mustard. because that would, it's a liquid. Food light doesn't have to be with liquids, right? So, but if you like show someone paint, and then show some ketchup and mustard, yeah, the paint could be all mustard. Yeah, it could be, you can't paint with the ketchup, right? But if you container paint in a cylinder container, all that red could be ketchup, and the yellow could all be mustard, right? Okay, so that would be more accurate, correct? Right, so when she said that she didn't get it right, she didn't know what it was, is she saying that she got it incorrect? She didn't know what it was. Is that what she said? She didn't know what it was. She did not know what it was. See, that's the thing. Does she mean she got it incorrect? Okay, let me think.
What was so fascinating, sometimes experiments with one mom where we'd show an image to her, or someone who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating, sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint. No, room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating, sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint. No, she would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating, sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint, was sitting for a teacher or a communication partner, father or whatever. Where we did some experiments with one mom where we'd show an image to her, or someone who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating, sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was.
The mother wouldn't even know what the image was.
So at one point she thought it was paint.
She wouldn't know. She thought it was paint. No, she thought it was food light. Okay, let's do it.
Across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating, sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she, or someone who was sitting across the room, or a communication partner, father or whatever, where we did some experiments with one mom where we'd show an image to her, or someone who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating, sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint across the room, or a communication partner, father or whatever, where we did some experiments with one mom where we'd show an image to her, or someone who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating, sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was.
She says that she showed the mom
Someone that they're very close to, whether it be a father or a teacher or a communication partner, father or whatever it is. And others who seem to have a merged consciousness with someone that they're very close to, whether it be a father or a teacher or a communication partner, father or whatever. Where we did some experiments with one mom where we'd show an image to her.
We'd show an image to her, okay?
Someone who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating, sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So
So she means the mother got it incorrect, I think.
at one point she thought it was paint.
Yeah, she thought it was.
No, she thought there was food. Like it was
That was
ketchup and mustard, and he wrote paint.
How could you? She thought it was food light from what? How is she retarded or something? Sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful. Not her, I mean the mother. So the mother thought it's a food light. She didn't know what the image was. She thought it was okay. So what I'm thinking is, so they didn't show her the image, but she guessed that it was a food light. Are they not? They're not perceiving that it could be right though. That the mother pretty much got it. Food light with okay. If the image is of a ketchup and mustard, unless it's like mashed together or something, yeah, that would be directly a food light, right? So I see what she's saying when she said the mother didn't get it right, but actually she kind of did. See, this is the artistic mind. I see all the perceptions. Overall, I would say. Overall, I see all the perceptions. I see many perceptions. For me, the mother didn't get it incorrect at all. Oh my gosh, this would explain why on the movie reviews, they don't get it, and I get it. Because I see so many of the connections of so many of the story elements, so many more connections, routes.
So that point is like she's not obviously sending thought, right? He seems to be tapping in the second that images in her own mind. So
Second image.
for us, it was a big question of, is this just your telepathy? Because if you care, I told me, no, this is bigger than that. It seems like a merging of consciousness of some sort.
Yeah, in a bizarre way. If the mother doesn't know what it is,
Yeah, because, okay, that's what she said. She didn't know, the mother didn't know what it was.
the child does, that's strange.
Okay, so she's going back to what she initially said, that woman. She said the mother didn't know what it was, but then she said she thought it was. So I'm assuming that they actually didn't show her the card. That's what I'm saying. And maybe he's trying to clarify what she's saying, because maybe he's confused too. I'm a little confused, which she doesn't know. So he's trying to clarify. She doesn't know. She didn't know what it was. She thought it was. It seems that that's what she means. They didn't show her it, and she guessed that it was a food fight. The son knew. Yeah, I see what's happening. But did the son hear what she said? That's the whole thing. If the son heard food fight, I guess what happens is before she even said it, I'm assuming, see the metrics and the order of it. I'm assuming she didn't say anything. She hadn't said anything. He wrote down pain already. That's what it means, that the mother didn't know what it was. But she kind of did know. See, that's why, to me, she did know. Elements, food white would be food. But what they're showing, okay, is not actual food white. It's the food itself. Right. But she said she got it wrong. The mother got it wrong. No, she didn't. She didn't. Again, perception. The mother didn't get it wrong. The mother didn't get it wrong. She simply saw a facet of it. My gosh. This is the interpretation. They really don't know. They really can't. They really don't know how to interpret the data. I mean, no, they can't. They don't interpret it the way we do. Oh my gosh, this would explain everything. This could actually explain everything. This explains why they don't turn off the Wi-Fi. My gosh, this actually explains why they don't turn off the Wi-Fi. First, it seems literally organically they can't. If I have this mind-blowing super awareness thing, my gosh, that means that would explain why I can feel the waves. This would explain why I can feel the Wi-Fi. With this kind of amped up ability, I would actually be. That would explain the telepathy. I must be riding the waves of the EMF. My signals must be, my gosh, they're actually transposing or translucing, or they're actually transcribing, they're actually traveling through the EMF, which means I actually do have telepathic powers. Oh my gosh, I really do have telepathic powers. Oh, that's great. When you start telling people you got telepathic powers and they know what it means, that's different from psychic, because psychic is like one way. Telepathy is both ways. So when you have the power of what they call the force, even though I don't really like that word, I don't like that word, but I'd rather call it when they call the thread, that gets them really concerned. Yeah, the fact that you can say I can control other people's actions and their thoughts. Yeah, this is the thing that scares neurotypicals crapless. Wow. Whoa. This explains so much. Yeah, that. Wow.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And but I also, one of the stories I loved, goes back to
Strange.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And but I also, one of the stories I loved,
Okay, so her reaction is okay. It's interesting to see it. Before I thought it was dismissive, but let me look at it again.
Child does. That's strange.
Yeah, it's really fascinating.
It's something, the way his tone is, the way Joe Rogan's tone is kind of creepy though. It's kind of creepy the way he said it. Maybe that.
Consciousness of some sort.
Yeah, in a bizarre way. If the mother doesn't know what it is and the child does, that's strange.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And but I also, one of the stories.
No, it seems almost a little dismissive. Let me, you know what? Let me play this on normal speed. Sometimes the speed can give this, and I can't. It's the thing is not allowing me to. Let me do this, and let me put it on actual color. I mean regular color.
He trotted through the twilight woods. His thick, russet tail, a mark of his prime, swung with a confident rhythm, a counterpoint to the soft
Did you have a preconceived notion of telepathy or spiritual gifts or anything before this?
No, I mean, I think like a lot of people, it's like the idea of mediums and psychics, it's
Okay.
thinking and you write it, and so
Do they say what they see?
um.
Or how they see it? Like if someone writes something down, do they see the word or do they know it?
Well, I think that's a really good question, and we've done a few experiments that again, I'm not a scientific experiments I was doing for the film.
I think it's a real good.
See the word or do they know it?
Well, I think that's a really good question.
You think that's a really good. Is that almost disrespectful? I think that's a really good question. That seems disrespectful. So you might not think it's a
And
Or how they see it? Like if someone writes something down, do they see the word or do they know it?
Well, I think it's a really good question.
I think that's a really good question. I think that's a really good question. I think that's a really good question. Guys, all this seems just... It is a good... I think that's... I guess she's trying to ponder it. She doesn't know if it's a really good... it could... She's saying maybe it's a good question. She doesn't know if it's a really good... Right, okay, I get it.
And, we've done a few experiments that, again, I'm not a scientific experiments I was doing for the film, which is going to be a film, but the podcast was kind of me just trying to understand, like, proof of concept, what is going on here, right? And I can only say with someone image to her, someone who was sitting across the room would all of a sudden start writing what the image was. But what was so fascinating, sometimes mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint. No, she thought there was a food fight, it was ketchup and mustard, and he wrote paint. So at that point, it's like, she's not obviously setting up a fight, wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint. No, she thought there was a food fight, and it was ketchup and mustard, and he wrote paint. So at that point, it's like, she's not obviously sending a thought, right?
I love these headphones. They're adorable. They're so cute. We really don't wear these headphones. It's really adorable. This is really cute. Right. Yeah, but you always protect your hearing. That's it.
He seems to be tapping in the second the image is in her own mind. So for us, it was a big question of, is this just sheer telepathy? Because a few parents have told me, no, this is bigger than that. It seems like a merging of consciousness of some sort.
Yeah, in a bizarre way. If the mother doesn't know what it is and the child does, that's strange.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. And, but I also, one of the stories that I love.
I love the way he says it. The way he says it's so hilarious. And I was just trying to kind of, yeah, so he's kind of a little bit dismissive about them. I think it's because of the way he said it. Right.
Goes back, so Rupert Sheldrake, the Cambridge biologist who's in this project, he didn't believe in telepathy either. I mean, I think a lot of scientists, right, don't believe this stuff right away either. And he had a senior professor that he really looked up to, Sir Rudolph Peters, and he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth for being such a brilliant scientific mind, right? And this Sir Rudolph Peters was in like the tea room at Cambridge one time and telling young Dr. Sheldrake, young Rupert here, that he just heard of a blind boy that he tested.
Yeah.
And
you have to establish what we call a baseline. Oh, there's that base word again. I have issues with that base word now. Well, I'll call it a foundational line to know her behavior. And I know Rogan's behavior. I've watched a lot of his videos.
And I've always believed certainly there's got to be really felt like people that a lot of people.
False words certainly.
Like
let's get to the very.
The Joe Rogan experience.
Did you
Oh,
have...
I like the eye thing. That's autism. That's psychic. That's telepathy. Pineal gland.
a preconceived notion
The
of
third eye.
Telepathy
Seat of
or
the- seat of the-
spiritual gifts or
sitting in the
anything
seat
before
of-
this?
No, I mean,
Telepathy or spiritual gifts or anything before this?
no, I mean, I think like a lot of people.
Spirit notion of telepathy or spiritual gifts or anything before this?
No, I mean, I think like a lot of people, like the idea of mediums and psychics, it felt like people that are often trying to just make money off of people in really vulnerable situations.
Yeah.
And I've always believed certainly there's got to be people who have certain gifts like that, but that the vast majority couldn't be trusted, or, I didn't think telepathy could be real. That seems impossible. It just seems impossible. Even things like plant communication
Yeah, just as another false emotions.
felt impossible. Or, I mean, none of that was something
He's here in Austin, yeah.
that was like my worldview. I was working on, solving problems around paid family medical leave.
Problem might be a false word. See, my brain, if I really have all this awareness stuff, my brain is like, I'll figure it out how my series will determine how I'm going to determine what I'm ultimately going to do with these false word things.
And making health insurance more affordable and accessible. Like, it was not my cup of tea, really. And so...
I think she's part Asian. She looks a little Asian. She's kind of short, kind of that face. Possibly from Ukraine area. Yeah, I see it. I see the Asianness. Interesting. Alright. That's great. I love mixed people.
which was kind of great because as I tumbled into this world, I mean, I was really wide-eyed as like, wait a second,
Yeah, she looks mixed. Definitely looks mixed.
have I been wrong about everything? And that's kind of where it ended up, was like I had to go revisit everything I ever thought about the world because I started realizing our entire paradigm is wrong. I mean, or a lot of it is. That was my experience.
So let's talk about what you saw first. Like, what was the first example where it was like an aha moment?
The lights behind him, are they used to blind his guests? Is it like some kind of interrogation thing? Oh my god, is he using interrogation technique? How comfortable are you if they're actually sitting in that room? We got lights blaring on you. Oh my god.
Moment for you.
Yeah, so
And look, she's got no lights behind her. So, oh god, with Rogan's fun.
after I heard the interview with Dr. Diane Hennessy Powell,
I guess he really wants to see the image on their face.
I Zoomed with her and then I asked if I could go see her, meet her, and talk about this a bit, because I thought this could be the next project, and I just knew it was going to be the next project, right? So one of the first things I had her do was I was like, can you just tell me about some of the emails? Like, they're like, I didn't believe this, and they're going through this. The story is that their parents had for 30 years, and it's a weird thing to say this child things that seem impossible. This is my own eyes, Mexico, and she was able to communicate, and stocked and pretty, and she'd say,
What they see, or how they.
well, again, I'm not a scientist. Like the experiments I was doing for the film, I understand like proof of quite a few spellers who say I can see through someone's eyes or I can hear through their ears. They're very close to what would be a father or a teacher, or a communication partner, father or whatever. Where a father or have a merged consciousness with someone that they're very close to, what would be a father or a teacher, or a communication partner, father or whatever. Where this, like we did communicate merge consciousness with someone that they're very close to, what would be a father or a teacher, or a communication partner, father or whatever. Where
father, whatever, don't say someone that she interviewed that was very different or something.
this, like we did some experiments with one mom where we'd show an image to her son who was sitting across the room.
Okay, when she touches her nose, that usually means something. So she's not lying or anything, but
Would all of a sudden start writing what the image was.
it must be some kind of visual clue. Cue, not clue. Don't use clue. Because Rogan, he's on the show Survivor, but he must have picked on that when they touch their nose. Maybe he thinks they're lying.
But what was so fascinating is sometimes the mom wouldn't even know what the image was. So at one point she thought it was paint. No, she thought there was a food fight. It was ketchup
Okay, more. It seems she's trying to remember. That's why she keeps touching.
and mustard, and he wrote paint.
Now, when you're talking, in the moment and stuff, sometimes it's not accurate. You simply go by the emotions.
So so
to me, it's like it's not that she was wrong. She's not wrong at all. The mother.
point is like she's not obviously sending a thought, right? He seems to be tapping in the second the image is in her own mind. So for us, it was a big question. He seems to be tapping in the second the image is in her own mind.
In the second. He seems to be tapping in the second the images. So he's tapping in not the secondary image, but the second what? Tapping in the second images. So yeah, the second image is in her mind. Second image. What's second image? Paint? Oh, I get it. Okay, I get it. Not as in the second one.
So he seems to be tapping in the second the image is in her own mind.
Trying to understand exactly the words in the second. Like a second frequency, a second some. By times, just by time. He seems to be tapping in the second the image is flashing her own mind. What?
So for us, he seems to be tapping in the second the image is in her own mind. So for us,
I don't understand the sentence she's saying there. She just she needs to clarify. Or I'd like her to clarify. I don't know if she needs. I think someone explained. I think she would I think she needs to explain what.
So it was a big question of, is this just sheer telepathy? Because a few parents have told me, no, this is bigger than that. It seems like a merging of consciousness of some sort.
Yeah, in a bizarre.
I think it's the lighting. The lighting, it must be. Trying to get my okay. I look like Rogan with that head in my head.
If the mother doesn't know what it is and the child does, yeah, in a bizarre way. If the mother doesn't know what it is and the
Trying to clarify. The mother doesn't know what it is.
child does, that's strange.
The mother doesn't know what it is. The child does. Okay, I see what he's saying. He's saying that the mother is he saying that. They showed.
Yeah, it's
They showed him the ketchup and the mustard. The mother doesn't know because she has some kind of mental condition, or it's something, maybe some damage in her brain. She got an accident, I don't know. And she's saying food fight, so she can't articulate it correctly or something. And the son is thinking pain. See, I don't understand. I really don't. I literally have no idea. I don't understand what they're saying. I don't understand their interpretation of stuff. I didn't understand what she's saying with the second thing. I don't know. I can kind of get the feeling, maybe the feeling of a secondary image. He seems to be saying, "Oh boy, this is why I keep asking questions, because it's like
it's really fast.
that's why I keep going back to them, saying, what do they not understand what each other's saying? Do they not know what they're saying? Are they not being clear enough? Wow. What are the comments gonna say? Let's look at the comments. Jim, hold on. What does that mean? They not get it? I get it already. This is natural. She already knew. Hold up. So he's saying that she couldn't hear. That's not telepathic. That's telepathic? Oh my gosh, this explains more now. That's not, to me that's regular. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Alright, I gotta. Okay, this is. See, I'm getting the sense she might be autistic. There's something. It's not word salad, but I'm trying to understand her words. Rogan, I don't know, but.
Fascinating. And, you know, but I also, one of the stories that I loved,
God, let's keep on. That is AI generated imagery. I can know.
Just call me. Oh yeah, I'll be on my way. You see, party starts when I'm around. Energy, I get down, get down, get down. Release my body, set it free. Feel the music into me. No worries, no fears at all. Just call me, we'll have a ball. Just call, let's go, let's go. Feel the beat and let it flow. Just call, we'll dance the night underneath the neon lights.
Alright, let's see what you got. Let's do it.
Just call me, oh yeah, I'll be on my way. You see, party starts when I'm around. Energy, get down, oh, get down.
Most overused false word in the universe.
Get down. Release the body, set it free. Feel the music into me. No worries, no fears at all. Just call me, we'll have a ball. Just call, let's go, let's go. Feel the beat and let it flow. Just call, we'll dance the night underneath the neon lights. Just call. Just call me. We'll dance the night underneath.
Superpowers. I really got superpowers. It never really hit home until today. I mean, yes, I've said this multiple times in like the past month now, kind of. But today takes a whole new level because of the way I arrived in it, which I just went from doing the script yesterday, trying to figure out the 36 number, and then having 36 show up while processing that documentation of that, and then seeing 64, looking into it, getting to 1963, finding out it's JFK assassination, which is the moonlight. I mean, he's the moonlight guy. Some people, say it's. Some are not saying that it's moonlight. Don't mention moonlight. They say it's Bay of Pigs or something else. For me, it's like mainly moonlight, I would say. Assassination. But regardless, JFK is the one, the moonlight. Near the order. And my series is about the moonlight. It's about a lot of things, but one of the main things is the moonlight. In fact, that's how, spoilers, that's how they, that's how season 1 ended about them, I'll just tell you, finding a way to outer space. And the initial instigating incident is the revelation of the moonlight from a NASA employee. Season 1, initial, from the very beginning. So, Jesus, Joyce Christ. Again, the bookend, not again, I don't think I explained here in this video, is, while I was processing or looking up, the processing percentage was that, it didn't say percent, but it's like, it says the number, and it's in circles, the circle's kind of like, it's like, Juju or something, it's counting up. I looked up, it's 36, tabbing while it's processing. Other stuff, 36. Then I documented that, that amazingness, and then one point maybe tabbing, but definitely when I looked up at some point, it said 63. And that's how I came after sleeping and then getting up. Well, not getting up yet, while still in bed. Think about it. 1963. So it's in the moonlight. JFK assassination, all of what seems I knew that day. And when I was looking up, after I got up, I had to do some other stuff. And eventually I came back to, when I sat on the computer to do that, yeah, the AI write the dialogue, and saw the 96 be on my dialogue thing, after the prompt, 96 right. It's part of the, looked it up, scrolled down. Wow. Okay, let's go back to where we're at. So we're talking about Rogan. Oh boy. Okay, Rogan.
Goes back, so Rupert Sheldrake, the Cambridge biologist who's in this project, he didn't believe in telepathy either. I mean, I think.
Okay, I can fast forward it now because the same thing I'm getting from the conversation was the same as fast forward speed. Alright, here we go. Oh, I can even do stable. No, don't do that. I don't need that stable one.
A lot of scientists don't believe this right away either. And
sometimes it distorts it. Actually, kind of distorts it to the point where it's like too loud. It seems to be almost too loud sometimes than necessary.
A senior professor that you look up to, Sir Rudolph Peters, and he was knighted by Queen Elizabeth.
Not that it's always. I mean, sometimes it does need to be pumped up.
Really scientific mind, right? And
I'm talking if you want it most clear. Yeah, most clear. I mean, it depends. I mean, if it kind of distorts it, it depends if, how do I say this? If, it depends on what you're trying to do. If you want to clarify some of the, you're not understanding something, yeah, you'll have to pump it up and distort it. What did I say? What I'm trying to say is, if it's not necessary, it depends on your needs. Okay, yeah, depending on your needs. There you go. Yeah. So for me, I can understand. So it depends on your hearing level. There you go.
Sir Rudolph Peters was in the tea room at Cambridge one time and telling young Dr. Sheldrake, young Rupert here, that he just heard of a blind boy that he tested, who obviously is blind and can't read a mind chart. But if his mother is looking at it, he could read it.
Whoa.
And that's how Rupert Sheldrake fell into this world. And that boy was diagnosed with, being blind. But if his mother is looking at it, he could read it.
Whoa.
And that's how Rupert Sheldrake fell into this world, who obviously is blind and can't read a mind chart. But if his mother is looking at it, he could read it.
Whoa.
And that's.
I think Joe's like bored out of his freaking mind, which is really cute. We can keep staring at her. It's really adorable.
That's how Rupert Sheldrake fell into this world. And that boy was diagnosed with, being blind, but also at the time what they called, severe mental retardation, which we don't call that, but that's.
That's simply him having someone close by.
Who knows what this young individual had, if he had apraxia or what was going on, if he had autism, but
Because autism and blindness, it's a huge impediment, especially nonverbal autism and being blind. Like, how do you learn anything? So you assume that there's something wrong with the child, but really, there's just a lack of the ability to communicate.
Yeah, with non-speaking individuals with apraxia, they're in here, they're so smart, it's just that mind-body disconnect and not being able to,
What do they think causes that? Do they have an understanding of what it is?
I don't know. There's so many wonderful experts out there looking into this, and I don't know what causes apraxia, but I do know that there's a lot of.
See, that's the thing, when you finding out what causes all this is very challenging. Even me, I have theories, but it's like the actual thing confirmed. Sometimes I might even say, I can confirm that would cause sometimes, maybe, I forget. But, let me see, I can step back. Alright. I'm saying that I don't want to sweat too much, so it's sweaty or sticky or something, but there's a portion of the chair here which is kind of exposed from, I got the sheet covering on it, but it's one part that's exposed kind of, so I want to wipe that down. It needs wipe, so I'm okay, but I need to, eventually after this I'm going to have to wipe that and confirm it. It's good, and wipe myself out because of how warm it is can be. It can be. Right now it's 92 outside and time is okay, so we're at this is the beginning of the hottest portion. This makes sense. It's literally starting about this time. Technically they say it could even be 3 p.m. but I think usually it's around 5 p.m. For I think taking all seasons. You can say that 5 p.m.
Reports to help individuals who have apraxia to communicate, and the world is just making it really difficult for these individuals.
Have you?
Yeah, language. See, getting the accuracy of what I'm saying. For neurotypicals, they're not that accurate at all. In fact, they're completely opposite, it seems. So in my mind, I gotta get it exact. because of all the sensory overloading, sensory or whatever. I don't even call it. I don't want to say like it's over. Sometimes it can be overloading. See, that's all the glutamate I've got collected in my brain. All this thinking, we'll keep it together here.
You ever seen this young blind boy that uses echolocation and he rides a skateboard and move around? How bizarre is that?
It's cool. I mean, in some ways, you think of echolocation or being able to see through infrared as like a sixth sense, a sense that we don't have, right? But it's like a sense some other creatures get around with. So it's like what we're talking about here is almost like a seventh sense, right? It's something beyond that. But I there's something so beautiful about that, right? That if humans are so creative, that we will find our way to get around the world and find our ways to communicate.
Also, when you're missing a sense, your other senses are stronger. This has always been.
Well, my eyesight. Really selling this music thing on me. They're really selling the music thing on me. Alright. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, I can put it in the. There we go. Add it. Subscribe. Awesome.
In a world divided, we're caught in a fight. Voices rise up, shining through the night. From the stages to the street, we're claiming our space. With our unity and love, we will win this race. Whispers of division, but we don't back down. Building up our dreams wherever we are found. We will break the chains, let this music ignite. Together we'll rise, shining ever so bright. This is a fight song for all that's wrong. A melody rising, we're singing strong. Dance through the fire, don't let it fade. In a world of despair, love is serenade. We're shaking the ground, let our hearts collide. With every beat, let the truth reside. We won't be silenced, we're taking a stand. With hope as our anthem, united we band. Dancing through the chaos, we're finding our groove. Every step forward, we're making a move. Whispers of division, but we don't back down. Building up our dreams wherever we are found. We will break the chains, let this music ignite. Together we'll rise, shining ever so bright. This is our fight song for all that's wrong. A melody rising, we're singing strong. Dance through the fire, don't let it fade. In a world of despair, love the serenade. We're shaking the ground, let our hearts collide. With every beat, let the truth reside. We are the dreamers, the warriors of light. In a sea of confusion, we bring the fight. Raise your hands high, let the rhythm unfold. Together we're fearless, together we're bold. This is our fight song for all that's wrong. A melody rising, we're singing strong. Dance through the fight, don't let it fade. In a world of despair, love the serenade. We're shaking the ground, let our hearts collide. With every beat, let the truth reside. Yeah. So let this fight song be a call to unite. In the face of the storm, we'll be the light. Dancing together, we're proud to stand in this world.
Suspicion. I think that.
Yeah, I like that song. It's on my watch list, so I'll integrate it into the playlist. Alright, my mind is. Again, I wasn't planning on watching this because it happened to be up. I was supposed to be watching the non-telepathy video, so. Oh, my brain. Alright, so. Alright, power through this.
That's been proven. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That people are better at hearing things if they're blind or seeing things if they're deaf.
Yeah, I think that is absolutely true. And I think though, as far
Like Daredevil,
as individuals with apraxia go, again,
it matches up with the curtain in the back.
this mind-body disconnect. There's so many of the spellers I've met who don't know they have a body at first. They can't feel their body. You know, they don't have any boots to know where their feet are, or having necklace to know where their chest is. And I think not being in your body, not knowing you have your body, leads you to live in this country. They're only out there. They want to be out there, and you know that type of thing. But
I didn't even know what that means.
Yeah,
That's the
right.
problem. And didn't know what they were doing.
Texas summers. But have you heard of Ultimate Season Pass from TXU Energy?
I heard Ultimate Season Pass saves you 50% on energy charges during peak summer and winter. I also heard they're even more money.
They would know. They'll know. They can read your thoughts and they know what's up. They know what's up better than anyone, I think. You know?
Interesting. When you first started, was there stages of acceptance for you with these ideas?
Yeah, so that was pretty phenomenal. And then the first person to take this because she was being touched, and I think a lot of us in the room were like, wait, maybe how? But she's speaking Portuguese, and no one in the house speaks Portuguese. Or people. With depression, there's often a lack of body control.
They can speak Portuguese. They
Portuguese, and then she started spelling, trying to identify them, and then they looked them up and they were right.
wow, all of them 100% accurate.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I'm not saying, of course,
What
not.
the hell is going on there?
Not every.
Oh.
Okay, here's the feather. I mean, I don't know,
Whatever it is,
whatever
yeah.
feather on top of a stone or whatever the picture was of. And here's this picture and this picture, and then she identified them, and then they looked them up and they were right.
Wow. All of
Feather. And they were like, well, how do we test this? Because if we know the answers, we'll read our mind and know. So they had to
which
just.
is wild. Already.
Yeah.
Like you have to worry about this kid reading your mind. It might be
Yeah.
bullshit.
So they had to like look up pictures of hieroglyphics and not know what the pictures were representing to be like,
Oh.
okay, here's the feather. I mean, I don't know,
Whatever it is,
whatever
yeah.
feather on top of a stone or whatever the picture was of. And here's this picture and this picture, and then she identified them, and then they looked them up and they were right.
Wow. All of them are.
Yeah. They were these, and then she starts. The education system, there were 2 or 3 people in the room, and 3 people were in the room this day, and she started spelling in a language, and they didn't know what it is, so they looked it up in Portuguese, and then she started spelling in Spanish, and they were like, this is wild. And she also said she knew hieroglyphics. And
What?
Yeah. And then they were like, well, how do we test this? Because if we know the answers, we'll read our mind and know. So they had to just.
Which is wild.
Yeah,
Already.
yeah.
Like you have to worry about this kid reading your mind. It might be
Yeah.
bullshit.
How do we test this? Because if we know the answers, we'll read our mind and know. So they had to just.
We know the answers, so read them minds. Oh, that's interesting. That's funny.
Which is wild.
Yeah,
Already.
yeah.
Like you have to worry about this kid reading your mind. It might be
Yeah.
bullshit.
So they had to.
I think the way he's laughing, I think Rogan might think, that this is all baloney. And it's, it's healthy to have some skepticism. But maybe that's the whole thing, 'cause he might think, I don't know. Maybe he thinks it's skeptical, he's skeptic about this. Alright, let's follow through this.
Like look up pictures of hieroglyphics and not know what the pictures were representing to be like,
Oh.
okay, here's the feather. I mean, I don't know where. So they had to like look up pictures of hieroglyphics and not know what the pictures were representing to be like.
You have to worry about this kid reading your mind. It might be
Yeah.
bullshit.
So they had to like look up pictures of hieroglyphics and not know what the
Right, I get it.
pictures were representing to be like,
Oh.
okay, here's the feather. I mean, I don't know,
Whatever it is,
whatever
yeah.
feather on top of a stone or whatever the picture was of. And here's this picture and this picture, and then she identified them, and then they looked them up and they were right.
Wow.
Well, language is, the writings actually already represent pictorially. Same in Asian language. It literally is supposed to be a picture of what the words are trying to say. For example, like the number 1 is like this, right? And 2 is like 3, see? But in that's for, numerology, but for Asian, it's similar trying to think. Yeah, like a house. If you do like a house or something, it looks like a house. You know what I'm talking about. I like how the light is shining on that. It's nice, but
All of them 100% accurate.
so that's easy. Hieroglyphics, you kind of, yeah. See, I already get it. It's like it's an image. Of course, you could kind of get it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I'm not saying, of course,
What
not
the hell is going on there?
not every
They don't know. There are 3%, about 3% of the population is smarter than me. I wonder what they think about all this. What do I do with this power? What do they do with this power? What are these psychics and stuff? This is like already precedented. It's already been. They've already lived this life. They're already dead. A lot of these psychics and telepaths, they've lived their whole life. But you are in the present day, in the future to them. Life is a cycle, so it's a cycle. So it's the same thing, but how exactly am I supposed to go use this thing? The power seems to be numerology. well, okay, the senses and all that, yeah, but the most powerful thing I've got, it seems to be, is this God is constant. This could be the most powerful thing in the universe. It's simply a number. I mean, yeah, my psychic, telepathic, led me to it. Maybe that's it. Maybe it could be anybody. I mean, it could be, even someone who's maybe, yeah, let's say someone stupid even stumbles upon the number, but they wouldn't know what to do about it, but they stumble upon the number. So there's like this power, and then there's my power. Are they the same? That's an interesting question. But today it's not about, well, I can't say it's not about the number, because the number is where I came to this realization, helped me come to this realization. And the chi rose and all that. I mean, what does this mean? Am I the savior? I look like the savior with the light coming down. I look like Jesus. Someone did say I look like Jesus. I've actually played Moses one, but I was in the Walmart and I had the pole on, a stick. Someone said, all you need is a robe or something to look like Jesus or something. Something I'm paraphrasing. Yeah, I felt very Jesus. I felt very saviory. That was a long time ago. That was maybe 15 years ago or something. Yeah, it was after my leg. So that would have been, yeah, around 2007. Yeah, 2008. Wow, that would have been 10, almost 2 decades ago. Alright.
What is that?
Well, I mean,
Like, that's beyond bizarre. Did you give her uniform?
I mean, I wasn't there for this. Her mom reported it to me and it has an email. Well, I mean,
Like, that's beyond bizarre. Did you give her uniform?
I mean, I wasn't there for this. Her mom reported it to me and it has an email that she received from the staff. And so, the staff is just like, this is what happened today.
So why do I start thing?
Okay, no more telepathy videos. I'm gonna end this. I think this is gonna be, I said 800 on one video. I think it was the second to last one that I recorded in long form. I said 800 megabytes, and it came out to be 700 after doing all the sliding. And this is without even knowing any of the numbers. I simply, before I click stop, or while I was clicking stop. So I'm gonna assume this one. I'm gonna go with 800. 800. Oh boy. Alright, oh girl. Alright. Here we go.